White women go to college to find a man. Black women go to prove they don't need one.
Throw some wild out.
I think the majority of women do not aspire to be traditional like women. And so when we look at society, when we look at what's paraded in society, there's no good feminine examples of women.
What are you defining as a traditional woman?
So traditional by like definition would be like a woman who's nurturing, soft, submissive, who believes that a man is her purpose, that a family is her purpose, a woman who is family oriented more than career oriented, a person who is graceful, a person who will let her man lead. Um, that's more the traditional type, right? And so when I say what I'm saying, when we look at society and what's paraded in society, it's not that. It's the sexy reds, the Meg Thee Stallions, it's city girls, it's the twerking on cars, it's all the opposite. And so when you're talking to men, it's like what y'all are saying. It sounds good. It sounds like, a meal at Mastro's. It sounds good, but in reality, that's not what is really being seen, because you're talking about a very small percentage of women that even live that standard.
I think that is, I would say that from the men that I have conversations with, I think a lot of you all have that perspective of us as women. And I'm not going to argue that is not what is flaunted and like paraded around on social media. Like that is what is the norm now, unfortunately. But I think that men and people in general have a hard time separating what we see online versus like what is actually out there. Like, yeah, you all are seeing women that want to be paraded, want to be like spent on and like get the bags, get the dinners, all that kind of stuff. But there are real life people that are living that aren't living that reality. But because it's pushed us so much, and that's what we see, and like these are the conversations that we have constantly. We think that that's the norm, is the standard, and I don't think that that's true. I think I have a lot of female friends that are ready to be soft, are ready to be like family oriented, all of those things. But also, unfortunately, like women, and especially in the Black community, we are doing more, unfortunately, than the standard African American man. Like we are the income producers. We are the ones that are like highly educated. And so we want to be soft, and we want to be able to be that feminine woman that you're looking for. But at the same time, to do that, I need to have a man that's going to be able to provide. Like that comes with a person who can take care of me. I can't be a feminine soft woman if I'm also the provider of the family, like that, or if we're on the same level. Like I want to provide, and like I want to be that woman for you, but we're bringing in the same income. You're relying on my income the same way I'm relying on your income. So you want me to be soft and like care for you and take care of all of the house things, but I can't do that while I'm also doing everything else. Like it's a hard.
Well, that
balance.
goes back to my point about why I said men need to make twice what women make, because what you just said is that you can't be submissive to a man that's making the same amount of money as you. So inherently, any relationship that you find, if you were making the same amount of money as a man, or like, it wasn't that big of a difference, you wouldn't be able to be submissive to him. And then my opinion is that those relationships, like those modern relationships, the 50-50, it doesn't work long term, because at some point there has to be a leader. There has to be somebody that calls the shots. And if it's not the man, the woman will inherently resent the man for not being a masculine man. So I do want to delve into what you're saying about like Black women feel they can't be feminine or be submissive. Do you think they're inherently pushing back marriage because of that?
No, I don't think Black women are pushing back marriage. I think that the majority of my friends want marriage, want relationships, but we just don't have the same amount of opportunities and people checking for us as other people. So like, yeah, we are looking for it, but we're not trying to say we don't want it because you can't provide me with this. Like I also think that there's a lot of women who, even if it's a 50-50 relationship, if a good man wanted a 50-50 relationship, I know a lot of good women who are fine with that too. Like there's someone for everyone. And I think there are a lot of good Black women who are not looking for that. You're making 2 times what I'm making, I'm just a housewife type life. Like that's not the only people that are out there.
So your presumption is that women can't find the men that they desire, black women.
Yes.
And that's the reason why they're not getting married at the same rates as other races.
Absolutely.
Overall, like, I agree with both of you guys. You do need a man to be a man so that you could be in your submissive era, right? We need men to be masculine men. Unfortunately, we're in a phase of human culture where, things have happened outside of just this fight between males and females. There's also other things going on economy-wise, systemic-wise, that causes that, right? But damn, I forgot my point. I hate when I do that.
Let me break it down. So, okay, 1 in 4 black women get married in their lifetime. It's a few reasons why. I think women have became the men that they really desire. And so when a woman can't find the man that she genuinely wants, she goes and tries to become that man. She goes to try to embody what that man is. In her career, she tries to pursue a career, get her money. She tries to get certain traits that will advance her in her career to be more assertive, to be more dominant, etc. And so when you're saying women can't be feminine, okay. What if I said I could only be masculine if I had a feminine woman? What if I said I'm gonna wear a dress and heels until I find a woman that makes me want to be masculine? That would sound crazy. I think that this concept of like black women have to be strong, it's not serving them for successful outcomes, right? It's not getting them to a place where if success is a marriage and a family and kids and a legacy, being strong and hard, yeah, you'll advance in your career, but you'll die alone. So I say this. I think obviously there's issues on both sides. I do think black men need to try to perform a lot better. When you have only 2.5 million black men making over 100K, that's a small pool to choose from. But at the end of the day, it's just not gonna be that many people that make it to the top. I mean, it's just a pyramid. That's just what it is. So it's like, what do you do in the meantime? If you can't find somebody at the top of the pyramid, can we just get along?
So it brings me back to my point. My bad, I found it, right? Again, my point is it backs to the building part, right? In the sense where we want men to be men, we want women to be women, but we're not there yet. And the thing is that, unfortunately, it sucks that other reasons force us to be in this position. The question is like, all right, well, are you willing to now say, all right, well, let me build the man that I want to be that leader eventually in my relationship? Like, okay, today he's not that guy, right? But if he does exude those characteristics that you're looking for, you could take along the work to say, let me build him up. Like, yes, it sucks that he's not there, and men should pull their bootstraps up and work on themselves as well. But as we're going along in life right now, the trajectory isn't looking like that. Now, we can preach and try to find solutions for men to do that, and amongst doing that, there's gonna be some time. And so in that frame, you still want your life, right? The women out there who are still single, they still want to get married while they're waiting for men to pull themselves up. So that should say, okay, maybe as you're the captain of your fate, you take that initiative and say, well, maybe he might not have that money or the thing, but he got some grit and some drive. Hey, brother, look, we can work together and get there. Eventually, I want him to be the mantle, and so maybe you work with that, But that might not be something that you might have been told to do, or it might be.
I mean,
foreign
essentially,
to
you're
you.
talking about dating potential, which
I'm not necessarily dating potential.
I mean, that is what you're saying. To date the potential.
On the flip side, you say something for me. If I'm making twice what you got and I'm the value, then I'm hoping that you fall in line too, right? I'm potentially hoping that you're gonna keep us progressing as well, right?
I like. I mean, I know people don't like potential, but I kind of like it from the standpoint of a lot of times women choose guys based on things that don't really matter. Like what kind of...
He's tall.
He's tall. That doesn't really matter. Like what he drives, what kind of... Stuff like that doesn't matter. Does he have good character? Does he have integrity? Does he have morals, values, and principles that he stands on? Because at the end of the day, if you have character and integrity, the money will come. It'll inherently come. It may not be... it may not be flashy in the beginning, but a man knows that if he has principles and values, he has to provide for his family, so he'll figure it out.
They say for real, most men don't peak financially until their 40s.
Yeah.
So if you're in your 20s, no way he's going to be in his prime. But are you willing to work with him, right? Because eventually, there was a story I read where the guy, he was a regular old Joe until he was 60. he made investments, and by the time he was 90, he became a billionaire. Now, he ain't had the money to start with, but throughout your lifespan, he made some good choices and decisions and got there. He didn't have the glitter today, but if you worked with him.
Child, that story in itself makes me sad because now.
But I'm saying, but at the end, he's leaving you a kingdom for the work that he's put in. Now, he didn't start with that, but because you entrusted your time with him and supported him, and you helped him get to where he's at, look at what he could provide for you and your future generation. Now, you're going to have kids and grandkids, and y'all set for life, right? Now, he didn't start with that, but if you threw him to the wayside, you lost a good gem. Not saying that you should be looking for, but I'm just saying, right? Like, the opportunity is there, where it's like there is some, gold and covered up, right? And it's just a little work you got to do.
I want to give you a chance to respond. I know I took your point and kind of ran with it, but
I can say that I have been in a position where I have been the builder of like trying to work with a man that had a lot of potential and like I saw like was deep down a really great person, but didn't have everything built out. And it can work, but it's such a gamble. It's like I have so many options. Not options. No. I have.
You see? It's just
ask her about she already slipped that one out.
See what I mean? Why would I sit there and play with him?
Why would I play with him? I got real money over here.
No. It wasn't even a money thing. It was like, do I want to place this bet on this person that has this potential that I'm building up and like spend, because I placed a bet on him. Like I took all that time.
But you said, okay, your intuition said to you that, oh, he has good character. You had a good judgment of that.
I thought I did, and
okay.
like and I thought that I had a good judgment on who he was as a person, and I was like, hey, and I wasn't even thinking about the money thing at that time. I was just thinking like, this is a good person, and like I think we can build from here, and it wasn't like about anything other than that fact. But once we got to the end of our relationship, it ended with him ultimately not being what I thought he was. Like he ended up cheating. He ended up. And like, of course I could have stayed possibly like, and tried to make it work, but it's like, I just spent all of that time putting in that work to help you become a better person, developed you into like being who you want to be. Like we built businesses together. You bought assets because like you were inspired by things that I was doing and we were doing it together. And then we get to this spot and then ultimately it doesn't work because I was banking on that potential that I saw in the beginning, and look at me now. Like it meant nothing.
So when you say he changed, did it change like he just became a loser, or you built him up so much that he felt like he was better and he left?
Neither. I mean, I built him up, then he cheated. So it's like I got him to this better space and this better place,
and
for himself, and he cheated. Like, and I don't think that him cheating was like enough for him to leave. He wanted to keep it working and keep going.
Oh, of course, a would.
Yeah, of course. So I'm like, I guess I could have made that choice to stay, but it's like, I'm not also going to do that to myself when I had already done a lot of work in the background to make this relationship successful. And then after all that work that I put in for us, then to stay. So like when you're dating for potential, there's so many what ifs for the future. Like I see the potential, but how long? You remember that movie that Tyler Perry made? What's that?
They're all the same. They're all the same.
Acrimony? No.
Three types of black men in his
No.
movies.
I don't know what it was with Taraji P. Henson. She dated that man's potential for 20 plus years.
You talking about the cook?
No, it was one where she like
the one with Michael Ealy?
Was it Michael Ealy? No. She dated him for the whole, like, all these years, and then, like, he was, like, an inventor.
Oh, was it Acrimony?
I think it was Acrimony.
Yeah, the horror
the
film.
CEO?
She deserved that, though. She deserved everything she got.
I'm not saying that she was right. I mean, it's Tyler Perry, so no one's really good, but I'm just saying
that's the propaganda, though. It's like Tyler Perry only puts 3 men in his movies. The
That's
cheater, the abuser, and the brokey.
I will not disagree with that. But I am just giving a scenario where, like, that is something that happens often. But when I hear a stat, like, only 1 in 4 women end up getting married, that is really sad. Like, and so I fortunately grew up in a 2-parent household. My parents have been married for 30-something plus years. So I have a very optimistic outlook on relationships, on making things work. And I also have a understanding of like, this world that we're living in now, in the perception that we see of dating is not true. I've seen my mom be that softer woman and like my dad lead. But I've also seen my mom, she pays her bills sometimes too. Like she My dad isn't like this ball out kind of person where like he's paying for everything and like buying her whatever she wants all the time. Like that's not what it is either. So it's like there is a balance and there is a realism that needs to come with dating. But unfortunately, if only 1 or 4 women are getting married, Black women, then there is a level of settling that we have to do that is just very sad. Like I'm sad that for my Black women out there, there are the majority of us are either going to have to settle or hit the lottery. Like that just is very unfortunate.
So I want to get closing thoughts on this. Should Black women be more feminine up front? Can we get closing thoughts on this?
Okay, so your statement that you said like a little while ago, where you were like, when we can't, you didn't really say immediately, but like essentially when we immediately can't find the man we're looking for, we end up starting to adopt the traits like while we're like trying to build our career. So we end up adopting that assertiveness. We end up adopting like that drive, like, and we start sacrificing the femininity and the softness in order to like to kind of adopt the traits we look for in a man in order to like get further while we're essentially by ourselves doing it on our own. My thing is, you know, it's not like it was like back in the day, because like back in the day, women, the only thing they really had to strive for was marriage. So the qualities you needed to quote unquote survive were the softness, were the grace, were the femininity, because like what you were only trying to do was attract the man. Now it's like when you are in high school looking towards graduation, most women, they're not looking towards a man, they're looking towards college or like their job, their career, their tech, their whatever. So it's like I mean, high school sweethearts aside, it's like, it's not like we consciously make a decision to start sacrificing the femininity in order, it's like our day-to-day life is gearing us to look towards our career. They don't really teach you to kind of like go look for a man anymore. They teach you to like function as an adult, which means like you need to go build your career. So it's like, it's hard for us to, I think we probably switched from one end of the spectrum to the other end, and you're kind of saying that we have to like find the balance. But it's like, it's hard because like you have to build your, I mean, as a woman, you have to build your career. Like you're not going to live off your parents forever. And most women are not finding their man when they step out of their parents' house at 19 to go to college. It's like most of us didn't find our college. Like I think the average person didn't find their college, like didn't find love in college. And like after college, you're building career, trying to figure out your life. And now 25 isn't even like considered really, like everyone's like not even really considering their 20s. For you, you're still like kind of like a kid. Like 30 is like the new 25 now.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I mean, like I feel like that's. I mean,
your
at
bones
least,
in your body will tell you not.
At least like in my circle, because I'm approaching 30. I have friends who are 30. I have friends who are over 30, and a lot of them kind of are like, oh, you know, when I was 25, I felt like I had to have everything figured out right then and there. But you know, you still have time. Yeah. It's like 30. It's like 50 years ago, 30 was like scary. It's like people turning 30 now are like excited. Like a lot of my friends are very excited for their 30s, like excited for their 30s the way we used to be excited for our 20s. So it's kind of just like it's like, how are you going to shape the world? How are you going to shape people to kind of try and, or not people, but women to try to figure out the balance of femininity for a relationship and who you have to be outside of a relationship in order to survive as an adult woman in the world?
Yeah, you know, it's tough in my opinion, to be honest. It's real tough because
we need both.
On two hands, you look at it like this, right? Where if you're a type of person who said you want your girl to make a real good amount of money, right? Like, you're going to have to adopt a kind of a certain type of mindset. Most men don't want
to carry the women all on their own.
And if you don't want to carry the women, she's going to have to adopt a certain type of mindset to make 6 figures plus kind of money. So you already opt out of that, like, that strong, soft femininity, because you have to be a different mind to kind of fight in this shark kind of world we live in, right, of capitalism. But then on the other side, it's like we want women to be feminine and soft and and have all that nurturing, but the men don't make enough money to support a girl who's not focused on career.
But can we
because
be
we live in a
accommodated?
country right now where yes, you everybody got to pay bills.
Who's we, men or women?
My thing is, if you make 40 and I make 40, that's 80. Can we? If you make 50 and I make 50, that's 100.
So
we're better together than apart.
But I still have to get to the 50.
No. But the truth there, like that's, general policy.
I mean,
gets
that's
45, right?
That's
what
fine.
he's saying is, a lot of people live far way above their means.
That's true.
Right? So low key, we could shack up 45 and live decent if we lived below our means. If we lived, where we needed to be.
If you cooked every day.
And we cooked and we were realistic and we didn't buy designer.
You didn't go on trips every other month.
We didn't take lavish stuff, right? We could do that. But because we all, like to fake it till we make it and live above our means, we think that's not doable.
That's not enough.
Right? You say somebody like, we can get a $250K house. Everybody like, not me.
No, this is shack.
Right? But it's a shack, right? But theoretically.
And then you have Instagram, so now it's like you constantly being told what other people are doing.
And we're constantly living in hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt.
Yeah.
Too. That's what we're doing.
But I say this all the time. White women go to college to find a man. Black women go to prove they don't need one. And when you're in college, one of the things that I see all the time is that I see this all the time. It's just like when we talk about 1 in 4 black women will get married in their lifetime, and they're putting it off to pursue careers and to become the men that they want. They believe that once they get to that place, once they hit that number, that 150, that 200K, that they'll be able to attract a man based on their money and based on their degrees. And men don't care about money and degrees. That's not what gets men aroused. I've never been like, hey, shorty, come over, bring your degree with you. That's really going to get me off. Like, that's not it. So it's the thing is
does
just
it
like,
add any value to you?
That's
no,
does it take away value?
I'm not saying it doesn't add any value.
Not for a relationship.
I'm not saying like in a relationship, like your degree makes our relationship better.
Okay.
Now, like your the knowledge that you have amassed from the degrees you obtain, if it can help us navigate our lives better, then yes, it makes
you a better person, a better human.
Okay, I